Hey, it's Jerry Norton, and whoa, I did not comb my hair before this video. I'm gonna have to deal with it. Guys, on today's video, I wanna talk about a very controversial topic in wholesale real estate, and that's around how to protect your interest in a deal. Now, it's been common in wholesale real estate for many, many years to file an affidavit of memorandum. This is a document that gets recorded that clouds title to protect your interest in a deal. On this video, I'm gonna break it all down. I'm gonna talk about when it's appropriate, when it's not appropriate, how it's being used, regulation, what you need to do in 2026 and going forward. Okay, all of that and more coming up.
Go to warmleadsdaily.com to get exclusive, warm leads sent to you daily. These leads are ready to go and want a cash offer on their property. Hurry, spots are limited. Go to warmleadsdaily.com now to claim your leads.
An affidavit of memorandum, or what we call for short a memo, or any document designed to protect your interest by recording that interest, is what we're going to be talking about on this video. Now, wholesalers do this as a way to prevent getting cut out of a deal. And it makes sense, right? If I sign a contract with a seller and that seller then goes around me, either my buyer tries to cut me out and goes directly to the seller, or what happens sometimes is the seller gets another offer after contracting with you, they get a higher price and they sign a new contract, they go to a different title company and they close out from under you. And you didn't even know this was going on. You find out later that you were cut out of the deal. I'm going to talk about some preventative measures later in this video, so stay with me here. But is there a situation where this is appropriate? Is there an appropriate use of a memo or of clouding title? Let's say, for example, that I contract with a seller for $50,000 on a deal, and during that time where we meet, we talk, we negotiate, we contract, let's say someone calls up the next day and says, hey, I'll pay you $60,000. And the seller says, well, that's $10,000 more. I'm going to sign another contract with you. Now you have two open contracts, two different title companies that open escrow. Neither one of them know what's going on with the other one. And then the seller closes before the first one. Wholesaler thinks the whole time that he's got a deal. He finds a buyer, he's moving forward. He thinks he's going to a closing and doing a deal. Come to find out that he gets cut out of the deal. So this is something that a lot of wholesalers worry about. This is something that happens from time to time. Here's a situation that could happen. Seller changes their mind. They say, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want to sell now. Now, could that be a legitimate reason? Does that happen sometimes? Yes. But here's the problem that's happened. Wholesalers now have taken this to a whole nother level and are abusing the memo. And here's what they're doing. Wholesalers will contract at a high price. So let's say the seller says the Zillow number is 100,000. You want 100,000. Great. Let's sign a contract for 100,000. Wholesaler then goes dark. They ghost the seller. They go ahead and file the memo and wait. And what are they waiting for? They're waiting for the seller to give up with them, go find another buyer, probably at a lower price a lot of times. And then they're just going to wait to get a phone call where title goes to close. They see the memos filed. It blocks the closing. I call this hold hostage the closing or hijack the closing. That new wholesaler, the new buyer, is going to call up that previous wholesaler that has the memo and says, hey, we're trying to close tomorrow. We can't close because of your memo. Can you remove your memo? That wholesaler, like I said, holds it hostage and says, sure, for $10,000, I'll remove my memo. Now, let's say that that new buyer is a wholesaler and he's got a $20,000 assignment. And this wholesaler wants $5,000 or $10,000 to save face with his seller, to close on time, to still make some money. Oftentimes that wholesaler will, what I call, negotiate with terrorists, and they will give them that $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is that they're asking for. And so wholesalers are like, wow, this is an easy way to make money. I'm just gonna go lock up deals, file memos, and wait. And 2, 3, 6 months down the road, I'll be getting a phone call and I'll be able to negotiate and make money out of this deal. That's where the abuse has come in. So much so that now regulation is really kicking in around the memo. Oklahoma, for example, they passed a law on November 1st, 2025 that makes filing memos and clouding title illegal. And a lot of other states are proposing regulation like that. We're going to see this year in 2026 several laws that are passed that are making it illegal to file the memo. And even if it's not illegal, here's the environment that we're in right now in 2026. They are highly frowned upon. So let's play out a scenario here so you can see what this might look like. You contract with a seller, you file your memo. They told you they changed their mind, And let's say that a little bit of time goes by. Let's say it's 4, 5, 6 months later. But then they go contract at a higher price with another wholesaler. That wholesaler opens escrow. They find their buyer and they're about to close. They get a call from title that says, hey, this is here. What do you want to do? We cannot close with this. Who's at fault right now? The first wholesaler did nothing wrong. He contracted. He was willing to perform. New buyer comes along. He contracts. It's not his fault, is it, that there was another contract? Who's at fault here and who's in the right? The first wholesaler has every right to have his contract honored. And the new wholesaler, it's not his fault. He didn't know that happened 6 months ago. He did marketing. He found a seller. He negotiated. He kept them in play. He found his buyer. He's ready to close. What's going on here? Well, here's what happens. If wholesaler B, the second wholesaler, if he's willing to pursue removing the memo, then he will most likely win. He will almost win in every single situation. Why? Because when it comes down to it, when a court or a title company or an arbitrator or whoever's going to be deciding what to do about that memo, they're going to look at the situation and here's what they're going to say. They're going to say, distressed seller, you cannot block him from selling the property. And wholesaler A is going to say, well, I had a legitimate contract. I had a legally binding contract. The seller agreed on a price. I want that contract honored. I get it. Makes sense. I've been in that situation too. But a litigator or a court is going to look at that and say, I don't care what your story is. I don't care what your reason is. You're an investor. This seller said they changed their mind, or heaven forbid, they found a higher price. What do you think a court's going to say when they're like, okay, wait a second. You contracted 6 months ago at $50,000. Seller said they didn't want to sell to you anymore. Months have gone by. They found a new buyer that's willing to pay them more. They're elderly, distressed, or whatever the situation's going on. What do you think a court's going to do? Are they going to side with you or the seller? They're going to side with the seller. Right or wrong, fair or not, that's what's going to happen, especially in 2026 and beyond when we're in a high regulation, when sellers are almost considered a protected class. The seller is going to win out every single time. What wholesaler B could do is say to wholesaler A, I'm not going to pay your ransom. I'm not paying you $5,000 or $10,000 to remove your memo. I don't care that you had a legitimate contract 5 months ago or 6 months ago. It's not my fault. I found a seller. We contracted a price. I'm ready to close. I want your memo removed, and I'm going to pursue legal action to get it removed. It costs about $2,500 is what I found to get it removed. Okay, so you have to understand here, this isn't a right or wrong thing. It doesn't matter if wholesaler A had a legitimate cause, legitimate contract, and it should be honored. It won't be honored if it's pursued legally. It will get removed. In fact, some title companies are just removing them without even any type of arbitration or litigation. They'll just say, nah, we're not honoring that. We're going to insure around it. We're going to remove it. And we're going to close with wholesaler B. Like I said earlier, you're going to see a lot more of this happening in 2026. So what is a better option? Let me give one option where, let's say that in your state, it does allow a memo still, like you can still file memos. Here's the right way to have your memo actually hold weight. This is what I'll do, is I'll say to the seller, I'll say, look, I hear you that you're changing your mind, that you don't want to sell now. Now, seller, let me tell you something that's happened to me in the past. In the past, I've had a seller tell me that, and it's not true. And actually, they found another buyer willing to pay more than me. And they're telling me they changed their mind, but really what they're going to do is they're just going to close around me for a higher price. Now, seller, is that what's going on here? Oh, no, that's not what's going on. Okay, I didn't think so. I just wanted to tell you that that's happened before. Now, you understand that if that were the case, that wouldn't really be a fair thing or a right thing to do, right? Okay, good. You agree with that. Now, listen, we have a contract in place right now. I'm willing to forego that. I'm going to let you go ahead and not close with me. But if you change your mind again and you're ready to sell again, then I want you to understand that I will be your buyer at the contract price that we've agreed on. Is that fair, seller? Okay, that's fair. Now, I want to make sure that I'm protected. I'm going to do what's called an affidavit of memorandum. I'm going to file a document that is going to protect my interest. I'm going to expect you to honor that, our contract, if you change your mind again in the next 90 days. Now, what that means, Mr. Seller, is it means, let's say that you change your mind and you forget this conversation we're having right now, and you go find another buyer, and let's say that buyer is even willing to pay more than me, and you contract and you go to close, title's going to see my memo that's filed. It's going to block your closing. You're not going to be able to sell it to somebody else. And I'm going to expect you to honor the contract we have. Is that fair? Does that make sense? I'll let you go, But if you change your mind in the next 90 days, I'm your buyer at the contract price we agreed on. You have to understand, if you say yes to me right now, but then you still try to go around me with another buyer, the memo that I file is going to prevent that from happening. So you're going to get a phone call that says we can't close because of this memo here. And then I'm going to be calling you and I'm going to be reminding you of this conversation. And I'm going to be expecting you to close at our price according to our contract. What just happened there? Well, you explain to the seller, you disclose to the seller. They understand what a memo is. They understand what it means to change your mind, to find another buyer, to go around you. You've disclosed all of that. You've talked about all of that. Guys, this business can be so easy if, as wholesalers, we just explain things to sellers. Explain to them you're a wholesaler. Explain to them what a memo is. Explain to them what your expectations are. I can't believe how much easier life is when you just talk to a seller honestly about what the hell you're doing. Just explain it to him. And maybe the seller remembers it, maybe they don't, maybe they test you, maybe they try to do it. And then you can say then to title, to a litigator, to everybody, you can say, look, I had this conversation. I even wrote out a thing that the seller signed that says they agree that if they change their mind again within 90 days, it's been 90 days. If it's been 6 months or 9 months or a year, don't try to hold them to your contract. Too much time has gone by. You're not going to win. When time goes by, it makes you look really bad. It makes it look like you're blocking a seller from selling a house, and nobody looks at that favorably. Everybody's going to look at you as the bad guy, stopping a poor seller from selling their house. And you say, well, I had a contract 9 months ago. Well, that was a long time ago. Let the memo go. Let the seller sell it. That's what I do. If it's been more than 90 days, I let it go. I don't care about why and how and if I'm right and all of that. I let it go. Okay, that's my take on it. Now, I could be wrong. You might have a different opinion. If you do, go ahead and put it in the comments. But this is, I think, the right way to do it. Now, what's even better than a memo? What's a better option right here? An even better option would be to not file the freaking memo and instead manage your seller appropriately. Manage your seller better. The only reason why a seller goes around you for somebody else, usually, not in every single case, but 99% of the time, I believe, is because you did a poor job managing that seller, setting expectations, explaining what's happening, following up, building trust, making connection. We talk to our sellers every single day from contract to closing. Every day. Hey, seller, just checking in with you. Everything's moving along. Title's been ordered. We should have that back later this week. We're still on schedule to close on the 30th. How you doing, man? How's it going? Getting packed up and stuff? Is there anything I can do for you? I'm your guy. I solve your problem. Trust me. You don't need to talk to anybody else. The number one thing, the most important thing to a distressed seller is you solving their problem. Guys, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with my partner, Mark Gabriel, we did 100 transactions last year, all wholesale transactions. Not once did we have a seller backdoor us or even attempt to. Not once. Why? Because they have no reason to. If you're getting backdoored, if that's a regular thing for you, if that's a normal thing for you, then it's not the seller, it's not the buyer, it's not somebody being dishonest. You need to look in the mirror and say, I need to take more accountability for how I manage my sellers because they clearly don't trust me that they're re-signing contracts with other people. That's a you problem. Could there be a one-off situation? Yes. But filing memos as a business practice to prevent that from happening is the wrong way to look at this. And if that's the way you're operating your business, you're in trouble in 2026 because it's not going to work for you very well. And two, why jeopardize your deals when you could just manage your sellers better and get to the finish line and not have to deal with all the drama? That's not the way to be doing this business. Be transparent, be honest, build trust, communicate clearly, and you won't have backdoor deals happening to you. Okay, that's my take on it. Now, let me share with you a case study just to kind of bring this all home. Recently, we contracted with a seller. 30 days later, we get to closing. The day before closing, title says there's a memo, and we call up the wholesaler A, the first wholesaler. And here's the deal. This guy was a legit wholesaler, an honest guy. He even flips houses. He's not just a wholesaler. He's a good dude, pretty new in the business, but he's a solid guy. And he had a contract 6 months earlier for $30,000. He was ready and willing and able to perform. We contracted for $45,000 and we had a buyer for $55,000. It was a 10K wholesale deal. So we were paying more and he said, I'm willing to perform. I'm willing to buy at $30,000. The seller said they changed their mind. This isn't my fault. I contracted, I put out a memo, and here you are calling me now. And I was saying to him, well, I get it. It's not my fault either. We're ready to close and your memo's preventing us. And I said to him, I said, look, we really need to figure this out because I'm willing to pursue legal action to get your memo removed. and it's gonna be really easy for me to do. Now he was like, well, what do I do? This ain't cool. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But I said to him, I said, let me be honest with you. This should have never happened to you. You should have managed your seller better. Or you should have let it go because he changed his mind. A lot of time has gone by. 6 months has gone by. 6 months is way too long to try to enforce a memo when all this time has gone by and you're trying to block the seller from selling to somebody else. What should he have done? Well, if he wanted to enforce his contract, he should have sued the seller for specific performance. That's what he should have done. That would be the legal way to enforce the contract. Not file a memo and wait. That's not the right way to do it. Not anymore. Maybe it used to be, it's not anymore. So I said to him, I said, look, I'll pay you $1,000 if you'll remove your memo. And he thought about it and he said, you know what, $1,000 is better than zero, because he knew that if I pursued it, he would get zero. In fact, he'd probably have to pay legal fees and get zero. And I'd be paying about $2,500. So $1,000 was awesome. Saves me money. He gets this done and he agreed to it. He's a super cool guy. He wants to build a relationship with me and our team. For $1,000, he removed it. I felt like that was a fair settlement and it was a great way to just kind of negotiate and get it done. Now, if he said, go pound sand, and I'm not removing my memo unless you pay me 5, 10, whatever, I would have said, okay. And I would have handed it over to our legal team, cost me about $2,500. It would take me a minute, but I would have got it removed and we would have closed. If you're a wholesaler and someone does that, a couple things. You need to really look at the situation and say, is it worth paying this guy off? I've done it before. I paid their hostage fee and just to close. We had a deal a couple months ago in North Carolina and our wholesale fee was $28,000. The wholesaler that had the memo wanted $5,000. I was pissed about it. I paid the $5,000 just so I could close. I still made, $22,000 or whatever, and we got the deal done. Okay, but I had room there and everything else. I just made a decision there to do that. So I hope this answers these questions for you. I hope this is clear to you. Hope you have a better understanding of like what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and so on. At the end of the day, though, it's all about seller management. If you do that, then I don't think you need a memo and need to worry about that. Could there be the rare exception where it still happens? Yeah, maybe, but it's going to be the exception, not the rule. That's what I found. Okay, hope this was helpful for you guys. I'll see you on the next video.